Welcome to an entirely new challenge. Today, we will spend a full 24 hours in the mountains, facing the wilderness and tracking the most powerful wild boars. With rugged terrain, harsh weather conditions, and unpredictable challenges, can we accomplish our mission? The result of this adventure will surely surprise you. Stay tuned until the end of the video to witness the most thrilling moments. The wild boar population in France has increased significantly over the past decades, reaching an estimated 1 million. These animals cause extensive damage to crops and farmland, particularly in Brittany, where compensation for farmers rose from €185,000 to €455,000 in just 1 year. As a result, the government has encouraged hunting activities, leading to a significant increase in the number of hunters, especially among women and young people. My hunting team and I set out early in the morning, following the guidance of the Onyx Hunt app on our phones. This app integrates digital maps, helps identify legal hunting zones, analyzes terrain, and tracks prey movements using GPS data. With this technology, we hope for a smooth and successful hunting trip. Following the app's directions, we spotted a stray wild boar frantically running. Unfortunately for it, today was not its lucky day. As it dashed past me, I immediately fired 2 precise shots, rendering it completely incapable of escaping as it tumbled down the mountainside. With a tight formation, we quickly spotted another dark figure. It cautiously took steps before attempting to flee. However, our hunting dogs swiftly chased and attacked, forcing it into the open. The boar fought desperately, but all its efforts were in vain after a decisive gunshot. A short while later, in a small valley below, I spotted another wild boar being chased by our dogs. Although it was at a considerable distance, I decided to take the shot. Fortunately, my bullet was precise enough to secure another successful hunt. In a more open hillside area, my hunting partners led the dogs into the shooting zone. Following the sound of barking, we scanned the dense bushes. As expected, a wild boar suddenly burst out at an incredible speed. However, with the reflexes of an experienced hunter, I immediately fired. A well-placed shot successfully took down the large, hefty boar. On our way back, we stopped by the roadside, guided by the app once again. Another encounter with a wild boar took place. The boar, sensing danger, did not hesitate and bolted away, making it difficult to aim accurately. I steadied my aim, but to ensure a successful kill, we coordinated and fired 2 consecutive shots. Finally, the prey was down. All the wild boars we hunted were brought back, concluding an intense and successful trip. The following day, our luck seemed even better. This time, we challenged an aggressive herd of wild boars in an unspoiled wilderness. The landscape featured undulating mountains covered in greenery, interspersed with solemn rocky patches. Within the first half hour, we detected multiple wild boars. Startled, they fled in panic, but our hunting team and dogs quickly pursued and cornered them. A series of gunshots rang out at close range, hitting several boars. The deafening noise heightened the intensity. After a round of shots, we were extremely pleased with our haul. We decided to take on a more difficult challenge, eliminating wild boars on the highest mountain peak in the area. This summit was extremely dangerous, requiring extra caution to ensure safety. A loud gunshot echoed through the mountain, bringing down a wild boar that tumbled down the slope. The hunt grew increasingly intense as we constantly encountered boars. Fortunately, luck was on our side. Armed Armed with only a basic hunting rifle, my shooting skills were pushed to the limit, and the boars fell one by one. At the mountain's base lay a small valley with a stream running through it. The cool waters seemed to be a favorite resting spot for the wild boars, as they love to bathe and cool off. We followed the stream, carefully searching for traces of our prey. As anticipated, the wild boars appeared near the riverbank. We followed their movements closely. However, shooting accurately in this area was challenging due to numerous branches obstructing our view. I spent considerable time chasing and ambushing one particular boar. Finally, in a brief moment when it stopped, I fired the decisive shots, eliminating it instantly. Spotting a wild boar on the run, I swiftly pursued and cornered it on the mountainside. As it frantically tried to escape from the hunting dogs, I took my shot. Another wild boar was successfully taken down. Although hunting wild boars may seem easy, achieving precise shots requires high-level marksmanship. Fortunately, with extensive practice and experience, I was able to make crucial shots. We ended our trip while it was still early. However, this mission is far from over, as controlling the wild boar population remains an ongoing challenge. Thank you for joining us on this adventure. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.
I never imagined that one day I would set foot in the Brandenburg region of eastern Germany to follow professional hunters in pursuit of wild boars that were destroying crops. This is not simply a recreational hunt, but a necessary task to protect the habitat and safety of the countryside in the region. If left unchecked, this destructive invasive species could grow into the millions and make life miserable for all German farmers. The trip started early in the morning. The autumn weather was still chilly. Dozens of hunters were present at the assembly point to assign tasks. The group divided into small groups, each group in charge of a different area. Just moving on the road to the hunting spot, we discovered a rather large wild boar. It must have been here since early morning to feed. Heinz, with his vast experience, brought it down with an accurate shot. Continuing up the hill, Heinz gave a slight signal to stop. A small rustling sound was heard, and then I saw a full-grown boar, not just one, but a whole herd. Martin raised his gun and gestured for readiness. In a split second, the shot rang out, the largest boar fell, and the others scattered. We continued to move and look for traces of wild boar. On the way, Mr. Hines told me about the situation of wild boar in the area. They can destroy acres of corn and rye in a season. So these hunts are to protect the farmer's property. Hines carefully observed every movement of the wild boar in the bushes. When one appeared in his sights, he would signal us to shoot. With the guidance of the experienced hunter, we learned a lot. Hines also said that in hunting, priority should be given to adult wild boars, as they are extremely destructive. We chose a high position with good visibility and could observe every movement of the wild boars. With this favorable position, we could easily shoot down the wild boars if they appeared. Focus, the wild boar is very close to us, Hines said after listening carefully. As soon as he finished speaking, a huge wild boar rushed out, pursued by hunting dogs. Without thinking, Martin and I opened fire, and the shot brought the wild boar down immediately. Be careful, because wild boars can attack us in any situation, especially when they are panicking. Hines's words were deeply imprinted in my mind as a warning to let me know how dangerous wild boars are. In the afternoon, we would coordinate our hunting tactics with the dogs working together to herd the wild boars, forcing them to run towards the gunmen who were waiting in ambush. My heart beat fast as I heard dogs barking, wild boars jumping out of the bushes, gunshots rang out, and the giant boar fell. The scene lasted less than a minute, but was enough to shock me. The hunting dogs herded quite a number of wild boars. We were surprised and did not expect there to be so many. The number of wild boars was so large that we shot them nonstop, resulting in dozens of them being killed. Despite their speed, wild boars are not immune to being killed. The pigs are collected and transported back to the village, where they are sold to local processors. Wild boars are considered a delicacy in Germany in some regions. Our wild boar hunting trip in Germany has come to an end. Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.
wild boars reproduce uncontrollably, devastate crops, and pose a serious threat to the local ecosystem. Faced with that reality, our hunting team was forced to deploy the most effective strategy: airborne pursuit by helicopter. Every flight is a battle, where speed, tactics, and reflexes must be pushed to the limit. There's no room for hesitation in this war. Once a target is locked, it must be taken down. Over the horizon as we lift off. The helicopter gently vibrates as it carries us into the sky. Only a few minutes into the flight, we spot our first target. A herd of large, fat boars are charging ahead at breakneck speed. They zigzag constantly, but their hoof prints in the sand betray them, revealing every movement. No matter how many times they change direction, my rifle doesn't waver. Wherever they go, our helicopter follows close behind. One by one, the boars fall under a continuous rain of gunfire. Just as planned, not a single target is missed. As we advance into the grasslands and denser forests, the chopper continually adjusts its altitude with flexibility, giving us a clear vantage point. The moment I spot a herd of boars below, I steady my grip and unleash a rapid burst of gunfire. Though the helicopter sways slightly, we maintain our calm and precise aim. Most of the wild boars drop, though a few clever ones manage to escape in time. My God, they just keep coming. We fired countless rounds just to bring them down. It's hard to imagine the destruction this field would face if we didn't take them out. The number of boars on the field is overwhelming, forcing us to circle back several times to finish the job thoroughly. The withered corn rows after harvest blend into the dark color of the boars, making them hard to spot at a glance. The roar of the helicopter alerts them to danger, and they bolt at full speed. We use every second to lock on, take aim, and fire quickly. Not a single one escapes. Open terrain and sparse forest like this make it easier to pinpoint the boar's exact location. However, they no longer move in herds. They've scattered in all directions, reacting instantly to the roar of the helicopter above. A tense showdown unfolds. With precise, relentless shots, the boars are taken down one after another, quickly and efficiently. This hunt is not just a test of stamina, but a battle of wits, patience, and the ability to make split-second decisions. Dense forests are considered safe zones by the boars, places to hide and escape danger. So, we circle around, deliberately pushing them toward the forest's edge, then swiftly give chase. Let's see where they think they can run now. Before our icy muzzles, the wild boars are swiftly eliminated. Speeds up to 50 kilometers h and incredible agility, wild boars aren't easy target. The helicopter gives us the edge in visibility, but it still has to constantly adjust course to keep up with their zigzagging route. But this time, the hunting team triumphed. Even darting like black arrows, the boars couldn't escape our deadly shots. Skill, experience, and decisive action helped us complete the mission flawlessly. Activity, and it energizes us too. In just a few short minutes, an unknown number of wild boars are taken down in a rapid-fire sequence of shots. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.
I am a farmer in South Texas where corn and soybean fields stretch out endlessly. But behind the peaceful facade lies a war that few people see. The war with feral pigs. Feral pigs have long been a vicious invasive species, destroying crops, digging up soil, and confronting hunters when cornered. In recent years, I have learned to become a hunter, not out of passion, but for a living. The war is often fought with traps and guns. The trap I chose was a corral trap, a circular trap with a trapdoor made from wire mesh panels about 1.5 meters high. Inside, we baited it with corn mixed with fat and wine, which wild boars particularly love. They can't resist the smell. To effectively trap wild boars, we need to set the traps several days in advance so that the wild boars are not alert. To effectively trap wild boars, you need to install surveillance cameras to capture the wild boar's activity time. After many times approaching the corn bait without encountering danger, more wild boars will appear. Through the camera, we know the time and number of wild boars entering the trap. We can remotely control the trap to trigger and capture the prey. Early in the morning, we moved to the trap location to harvest wild boars. Although we knew in advance that there were many wild boars in the trap, we still felt nervous when facing them. As we approached the trap, the wild boars panicked and rushed at the bars, growling and trying to break through the cage. We did not shoot them immediately, but looked around, making sure that the wild boars did not fall into the trap. When we saw no danger around, we aimed and killed each wild boar. Each accurate shot took down the wild boar immediately, ending it quickly. That was the moral rule we set, which was not to let them suffer for long. To get a quick and clean shot, we needed to aim precisely at the head and chest. After killing these wild boars, we loaded them onto the truck. The wild boars were so heavy that my whole body almost swayed. These wild boars would be processed to make full use of them. Nothing would be wasted. After bringing the wild boars back from the traps, we returned to the guardhouse on the south side, where the barley fields and the wild woods met. This was where the pigs often came out at midday to find water. I hid on the high watchtower, my gun ready, my eyes fixed on the binoculars. Around 11 a.m., a herd of wild boars appeared. I took a breath, adjusted my scope. At a distance of 50 meters, I aimed at the leader and pulled the trigger. The explosion rang out in the silence, causing the remaining herds to scatter. The one that was shot staggered, but still ran away. I slid down to the hut, followed the tracks, and found the wild boar, collapsed about 100 meters from the hut. While waiting, we moved closer to the farm area where the terrain was flat and wild boars often appeared in large herds. In the blazing sun, I could clearly smell the scent of soil, grass, and wild boar mixed together. I held the gun firmly in my hand. As soon as the wild boar appeared, I pulled the trigger. Thanks to the accurate shot and good vision, we continued to kill a few more wild boars. Although we hunted a lot of wild boar, we were not very excited because this was not a recreational hunt. The goal was to prevent wild boar infestation and limit their population. All wild boars hunted will be transported by us to the staging area. After inventory, they will be sent to local slaughterhouses. Hunting wild boars in the U.S. is not only a farmer's act of self-defense against crop damage, but also an art of balancing survival and humanity. Traps help me take the initiative, guns help me finish quickly, but the most important thing is still the heart, cold enough to pull the trigger, warm enough to remember that every fallen animal is the flesh and blood of this land. Our journey of hunting wild boars with traps and guns has ended. How do you feel about today's video? Leave your comments below to let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe to receive the latest notifications. Having been a hunter for many years, I've experienced quite a few thrilling chases. But stepping foot in Louisiana for the first time, everything still made me restless and excited like a rookie. The air here was thick with the smell of damp earth, dry leaves rustling beneath my feet, and wild sounds occasionally echoing from afar. I knew I was about to enter a hunt unlike any I'd experienced before. We had carefully planned the hunt for several days, and now it was time to officially begin. First, the whole team took advantage of early morning to check the bait traps. In Louisiana, hunting laws are very strict. especially regarding mechanical traps that can injure animals. Therefore, bait traps are still widely used and considered more legal. Look over there, a herd of wild boars. Busily rooting around the trap. My heart rate spiked. I raised my gun, aimed at the boar standing closest to the edge for the best shot, then squeezed the trigger. The shot rang out, and the boar collapsed instantly. The rest scattered in panic. It was a bit disappointing to take down only one, but such a start wasn't bad at all. Leaving the trap area, I happened to come across a deep waterhole with a few wild boars lingering nearby. Though not very large in size, each one looked plump and healthy, enough to stir the hunter's blood in me. However, these creatures were incredibly sensitive and alert. Even the slightest noise would set them off, and they'd scatter before I had any chance to take aim. In the end, I decided to climb up a high hunting stand to lie in wait. One wild boar slowly approached the stand, unaware of the danger ahead. This was my chance. I quickly raised my gun and fired, but the shot missed, and the lucky boar managed to escape. A gentle start like that was enough. I climbed down from the stand and began to carry my rifle deeper into the forest, searching for traces of other boars. It didn't take long before the next target appeared. Today was truly a lucky day for me. I kept running into one group after another. This time, I couldn't rush it. I quietly raised my gun, held my breath, focused my eyes for a perfect aim, and pulled the trigger. A single clean shot, the boar crashed down hard, lying stiff on the forest floor. By the afternoon, the whole team decided to change tactics. We drove an airboat to hunt wild boars out in the fields. I sat on the deck of the boat, clutching my gun tightly and scanning every nook and cranny. There it was, a boar appeared on the right without any signal. My friend Ash immediately steered in that direction, waiting until the boat ran parallel to the prey. With a perfect aim, I didn't hesitate to pull the trigger. The shot didn't instantly take down the boar, but it wounded it badly enough that it jumped up, then lay thrashing until it was exhausted. Just look at its size, clearly a formidable pest. Luckily, today we managed to take it down. Driving an airboat to hunt wild boars in the fields is definitely an experience you must try in Louisiana. Unlike the tension in every step through the forest, the vast open fields become a playground of speed and reflexes. The roaring engine and the sound of digging into the ground easily alert the boars and make them flee, so there's no room for hesitation. As soon as the prey shows up, we have to aim quickly and squeeze the trigger in a split second. One missed shot and the boars will slip into the tall grass and disappear immediately. Ash steered the airboat to another, less dense area. The hunters in the team split up, each watching a different direction. 15 minutes passed in silence when suddenly Harry stood up and pointed forward. A small wild boar was glimpsed in the distance. A burst of gunfire rang out. The target was completely taken down. So another boar's carcass was loaded
One more,
onto the
y'all.
boat. The hunt ended with results beyond expectations. Although the whole team was exhausted, everyone was filled with excitement. Louisiana did not disappoint. Wild boars, the experience, and the feeling of satisfaction after each successful shot are truly hard to describe in words. How do you feel about today's hunt? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to follow more thrilling hunts.